Good day, family. How you doing? This is Brother Tyrone here to share with you a morning devotional from Matthew 14th chapter, 22nd to the 33rd verse. Before we get into the devotion, I want to read to you what we're talking about and then share with you um, my quiet time revelations. Matthew 14th verse 22. Immediately, Yahusha made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him on the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went on the mountainside to pray by himself. Later that night, he was alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before, Yahusha went down to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Yahusha immediately said to them, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter said, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on water, and came toward Yahusha. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, and cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Yahusha reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why do you doubt?" Then they climbed in the boat, and the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." This is an amazing story about the power of God, the power of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah, but more importantly, the power that we are given as followers of him. This story follows an amazing story of the disciples and Yahushua HaMashiach feeding 15 to 20,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. So we see the power of the disciples, the ability that the disciples are able to show the power of God and manifesting and sustaining his people. And so this story, the disciples get into the boat, get out into a lake, and start to experience a little rough seas. As fishermen, not nothing new. But the thing that was amazing is to see this ghost, this appearance coming towards them on water, and to cry out in fear. And so many times we have our answer, we have our deliverance, we have the peace or resolve that is being provided to us, and we dismiss it as an enemy, as a ghost, as something that is not for us to help us, when absolutely it is God. And so sometimes we have to be careful in our situations that we don't call something bad that is actually good. But the thing is, when the Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, heard them crying out in fear, he spoke, and they recognized his voice. That'll preach by itself. But when they recognized his voice, Peter, being who he was, asked, like, if it's you, tell me to come with you. Tell me to allow me to walk on water to get to you. And you ask, you shall receive. And the Messiah said, "Come." And Peter walked on the water. But the thing that was so interesting to me is, why was Peter the only one to walk on the water? Why was Peter the only one to ask to do this amazing feat when they had just did something so amazing hours before? They had just fed 15,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. And to still not have the faith to say, "I can do this as well," shows just how much we can forget how far God has brought us, or we can forget what God has done for us moments before the situation of the trial that we just had. And just the storms that we sometimes face are opportunities to show us our weakness, or opportunities to show us our faith. But it's our decision to choose. And Peter chose faith, and he walked out on the boat and walked on water. And he was walking towards the Messiah in an amazing feat. And then he realized he was walking on water. And something that really jumped out to me in my commentary says, it says, special supports are promised and are to be expected, but only in spiritual pursuits. We can't come nor can we ever come to Yahusha unless we are upheld by his power. He gives us the ability to do these things if we come to him. Christ bowed Peter, not only that he might walk on water, but that he might know the Lord's power and that he might know his own weakness. That's heavy. The Lord often lets his servants have their choice to humble and prove them and to show the greatness of his power and grace. When we look off from Christ and look at the greatness of opposing difficulties, we will fail and fall, but we can call him and he can stretch out his arms to save us, just as he did for Peter. Because Peter saw that he was walking on water and saw that I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is not normal. And began to doubt, began to have fear, and began to sink. But in his sinking, reached out and called out to God, Lord, save me. And he just reached out his hand and saved him. And so many times when we are in our situations, in our storms, or feel like we're sinking, our answer is right there. You just need to call out to him, ask him, save me, and have faith that he can do it. And he pulled him up. And the Bible says, and when they but Yahusha, he's so smooth in that he's like, why do you doubt? You were just doing it. Why do you doubt? And that sometimes is just a reminder for us that as we continue in our growth, as we continue in our journey, as we continue to seek God's face, and we start to do the unthinkable, we start to do the unimaginable, not to lose faith. They had just done something amazing and so quickly forgot the power of God. And when they climbed back in the boat, then those who were with him said, you are truly the Son of God. As if that was just the reminders of how God has brought us. So I think as I close this devotional out, the thing that I really want to impart in you is do not have fear to walk out the boat if God is with you, because he will allow you to do that which he has done. And he said, the Bible says that even greater things than this you will do. So if we only have faith the size of a mustard seed, we can do so much more than what the Messiah did in 3 years. And that's crazy because we've read of all the stories and all the miracles that he's done. And we will be able to do that and more if we just believe and step out the boat. Be blessed. We are FNBC.